Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Give My Head podcast, episode 18. Can you believe it?
18, yep.
First of all, Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. We are delighted to say that this podcast has now been sponsored by Phoenix Energy, ladies and gentlemen. Phoenix Energy owns the gas distribution network from Larne to Newcastle. Did you know that, Damon?
Yep. And from Newcastle to Larne.
I'm from Newcastle. I'm back again.
Yep.
Phoenix Energy. I remember Phoenix Gas digging up the road, but they've stopped digging up the road, I think. But they are superb providers of gas energy, ladies and gentlemen. Gas heating. Do you have gas at home, Teresa?
I do.
You have gas? Do you like your gas?
I love it. I wasn't expecting this to be the first question,
No.
but yes.
Yeah.
I love gas heating.
You love gas. Do you know
Yeah.
why you love gas? Because you get instant heat, instant hot water, no oil tank. You don't need an oil tank in your back garden or anything like that. You never run out, and it is kinder till the environment. You can go online to phoenixenergyni.com, talk about flexible payments, easy to make the switch from oil or whatever, and it's non-disruptive, and there's lots of brilliant information on the Phoenix YouTube channel, and of course go to phoenixenergy.com. And do you know what they're also doing? They're introducing biomethane.
Biomethane, yes. Biomethane.
Do you know what biomethane is?
Yeah, that's what that is. That's actually...
He's reading from his notes here, Phoenix Gas. I want you to know that he's reading from notes, but he kind of knows.
Biomethane, it's a renewable alternative. They use animal waste from local farms and use it to fuel the network, you know. So biomethane. Can you make biomethane? Have you ever made biomethane?
I'll give it a wee go. The way you said it, that you couldn't say it anymore in that sentence. I think you've said it 5 times.
phoenixenergyni.com. Go online. And our other sponsors, by the way, Drip Coffee. Thank you very much for your delicious coffee. Drip on the Ormo Road.
Love
fabulous cafe and fabulous food. I've been in recently. I was there the other day. Stephen Nolan was in, but don't let that put you off. Seriously, he's not in all the time. Unless you're a fan of Stephen Nolan, you might bump into Stephen Nolan if you like that sort of thing. He was in Drip Coffee the other day. The food is superb. And if you go to Drip Coffee and you say, Teresa, you want to save a few quid, you go in and you say, would you give my head some peace? They give you 20% off your food bill.
Oh, very good.
Isn't that pretty good?
Yeah. Oh, I should have known that before.
Yeah. Well, you can go up afterwards. Drip Coffee.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can probably tell, our guest today is none other than the fabulous fabulous.
Do you want to start again?
I'm going to say female comedian, but no. The fabulous female.
I'm fine with that.
It's early in the morning. Come on. It's the new year. Give us a break.
Let's go back to biomethane.
Teresa Livingstone, musical comedian,
thank
star.
you.
I have seen you many, many times, Teresa. I have seen you loads of times. Love your stuff.
Oh, thanks, Tim.
How the hell are you? You're doing very, very well. You had a brilliant Edinburgh run this year, didn't you?
Well, yes, brilliant in the sense that I came back intact. I didn't lose my mind. That was the biggest thing I was worried about.
Did you make no money whatsoever?
Of course not.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
that's not where anybody goes.
Yeah.
No, I loved it.
Where were you playing?
I was in the Mash House, which is sort of in Cowgate.
Oh yeah.
You know where
Cowgate,
it's all sort of like cobbled streets and lots. It's quite a busy place.
Was that your first Edinburgh?
Yes. I've never done it. Like I've been doing this for years, and I'd always kind of thought about doing it. And I was nearly going to do it in 2019, and then I didn't. And then I thought, sure, I'll do it next year. What else could get in the way?
Yeah.
And then, COVID, all of that. So did it this year, and I couldn't get over how much I loved it.
Yeah.
Everybody talks about it like it is. It's a real marathon, and there's people, lose their mind doing it, lose their health.
Were you there for the whole month?
No, that's the key. I went for 2 weeks.
Right.
And I performed my show every day for like 14 days in a row. I lost my voice towards the end. I lost some of my dignity, but I loved it. I loved that the only thing I had to think about every day was doing my show and getting people into the show and then going and seeing other shows. I was like, do people live like this?
Yeah. And did you because we were in Edinburgh in the mid to late 80s and it was big then. And then I was back a couple of years ago just watching stuff.
Yeah.
And
it's a sea.
ginormous.
Yeah. It's virtually impossible to actually stand out, I think,
Yeah.
unless...
Did
Now,
you get decent audiences?
it fluctuated. So some days there'd be, I had to get the full experience.
Okay,
I had
well
to have a
done,
day
Oz.
where there was like 2 people said. So I did have a day where there was 4.
Right.
But one of them was my sister, and she'd seen it 9 times
You should
already.
have
But
advertised yourself as fabulous female.
fabulous female. I should have gone with the whole female comedian thing. That would really make me stand out. And but yeah, it really fluctuated. Some days there'd be like 40, and then
Yeah.
other days 2 or 3. But
Yeah, but it is actually impossible to make money.
It
Even if you
is.
make money, even if you make money, they take it off you.
well, yeah, it depends
Yeah.
on who you're doing it.
'Cause-
So you have the free fringe where it's a slightly different setup where you have a bucket maybe on the door and the way out, and you get the venue for free. I wasn't doing that. I was with one of the promoters, Just the Tonic, and it actually wasn't too bad in terms of the amount of money that you take,
Right.
they take, and everything. But just with the cost of being there, the
Yeah.
cost of everything, you're not. I don't know how you make
Well, I
money.
remember reading our contract, and we're all, as you know, ex-lawyers. But look, I remember just reading the contract and just laughing. Like the contract itself was probably funnier than our show.
Yes,
So it's
yes.
like, you're going to get this amount of money, which is nothing. Like, but if you actually make money, we'll take it off you.
That's right.
You
Yeah,
us
that's
more.
right. The guarantee. I know.
Yeah. I mean, it's kinda,
I think if I took out all my costs and just focused on the room, I probably broke even for what I had to pay for
Right.
that room.
Right.
But no, it's crazy. It is crazy. And unless you're going to spend thousands of pounds on a PR company as well, like 7-8 months in advance
Yeah.
to really sort of build toward it is really hard. Making all what other excuse can I have?
No, but you got brilliant reviews, didn't you?
I did get good
You
reviews,
really
and for
good
that I
reviews.
was really excited
Because I remember you
because
posting from Edinburgh and go,
I know, look at that.
I even liked all your posts and I go, brilliant, I'm delighted because I've seen you loads of times,
Yeah.
but I was really, really pleased.
I know,
because
and it's hard to just get reviewers in actually. So
Yeah.
because that's the one thing I didn't have a PR person or
was this the
company.
show Delighted, was it?
Yes, Delighted.
Right.
And this is the one I'm doing in the Mandela Hall on the 29th of March, 2025.
29th of March?
Oh, yep.
Oh, sadly we
Very,
can't
very
go
good.
because we're in the Grand Opera House on the 29th of March. But
Well, mine's probably cheaper.
You can't get tickets for Give Me a Headpiece. Go and see Teresa. The show is brilliant.
Yeah.
But was it worthwhile then in terms of reviews and
Yes,
experience?
that's
and,
what I loved about it. And I got to do, because I don't do this full time,
Yeah.
I don't get to gig as much as I would probably like. So I'd never had a run of like 2 weeks solid just doing a show
That's it,
after
yeah.
over and over again. I was tweaking it the whole time. Having to change a few wee things that didn't. I thought I had taken out all of the sort of very Northern Ireland references so that everybody would find it funny. But there were still things I was like, oh God, they don't.
Oh, right, they don't
not
get
everybody knows what I mean by West Belfast. If I'm saying I used to teach in West Belfast, they're like, how lovely. I'm like, no.
Yes, I need your context.
Let me
here.
just, I did give some context because I had to start writing other things around that to sort of broaden out what that meant as
Yeah.
a newly qualified teacher in an all boys secondary school in West Belfast.
Right.
So I said to people, it's like, imagine you find yourself in the middle of a prison riot. And you're the only person going, does anybody want to start a choir? And that's basically what my first year teaching was like.
What did you teach?
Music.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Obviously. Yeah, duh.
Yeah. No, I did love it. I mean, I did. I was in tears when I left, but
Yeah.
sun cream in my
How long
eye. I
did
was
you
going to
teach
Spain.
for?
I taught there for 3 years, and then I moved abroad, and I had to leave the country. Not because of that job. They told me to get out. I left West Belfast, and I moved to Gran Canaria for
Gran
5 years.
Canaria.
Yeah, and I taught over there.
Oh, wow.
Uh-huh. So little Spanish kids who, and I mean, everything
Are you
I learned. Do you know, it wasn't bad whenever I couldn't speak Spanish at all when I moved out.
Right.
But it's Gran Canaria, you've got a lot of people who speak English. You don't really need it. But I was teaching in international schools where the kids were all Spanish, but they were there to learn English.
Yeah.
So they could speak, they were obviously first language Spanish speakers. So I had to learn quite quickly because they were slagging me off.
Right. Oh, wow.
But yeah.
So, you're, as you said, you're working, and we had a long period of time before we gave up when we were working at the same time. It's not easy.
It
I
isn't.
mean, it's tough.
No,
I mean,
it is.
it's
It is
kinda-
like having 2 jobs.
Yeah.
How did you get, what made you make that leap from work to full time?
Because it was encroaching on the work, the paid work, and we kind of made the decision: either you go for this or you don't.
Yeah.
Damon, or Michael, and who's not Michael, who's normally here, but he can't.
Oh yeah, where's Michael?
Yeah, I know. Sorry, Michael is
really
unavailable,
small.
unfortunately, this week.
Michael's doing some paid work today, I think.
Doing some work for the Hole in the Wall gang, hopefully. But Michael and I worked for Quangos, for the Equal Opportunities Commission for Employment, so we were able to take career breaks. So it had all gone totally pear-shaped. We could have so we took 2 years off and said, like, we're going to give this a go.
Yes.
We've done radio stuff, we've done stage shows, we've got bits of TV, and we thought, don't go now. Not going to do it. And I think you have to get to a point where you make that decision. Yeah. Going, am I doing this full time? Am I giving it as much welly
Whereas
as I can?
I took a bigger risk because there was no way back for me.
Yeah.
I was just in a private practice solicitor's
And you just
office.
quit?
So, yep, that was that.
Yeah,
you
can
know.
I just point out he quit a month later after he was supposed to quit in order to get an extra month's salary. And me and Michael McDowell sitting twiddling our thumbs. I thought we were going on
Big dramatic gesture. I quit in a month.
April 1st, 1996, and then a month later, Damon decided to pop in.
I'll wait and see how it goes first.
But it was getting confusing because, like,
Yeah.
you know, I was a solicitor, so you're going to court every morning, down to magistrates court, and then we were going round, you know, later on, meeting that night to do a radio show. But I was starting to get a bit confused, so I started to appear in the magistrates court going, Your Worship, I appear on behalf of the defendant, and I can't speak until I get a green light.
Yes, yeah.
I'm waiting for my green light.
Waiting for some direction on how to speak to the judge, yeah.
But I mean,
I know
the
it is
comedy
weird.
scene here is gone through bananas.
It
It's gone
has,
great.
yeah.
It's gone great. I can't speak today. I don't know
It's
what
all
the
right.
hell's wrong.
It's the new year.
It is the new year. I'm hungover from the Christmas
You've had a good
parties.
Christmas.
Yeah, I've had a good Christmas. And you know, certainly when we started, you know, very, very few female comedians.
Yeah.
Neil McKeever, you know, the very, very few solo acts anymore. And now, you know, there's yourself, there's Emer McGuire, there's lots of people.
There's a comedian on every corner.
Yeah, there is. There's probably still not enough women doing it.
Yeah.
You know, there's because like when you like you say, I started maybe 2013, 2014, and I was quite old. I was like in my mid-30s when I started. And,
Mature, not old.
Yeah, I know. That's when you go, no,
You have life
Teresa,
experience.
no.
You
Yes,
have
life
life
experience. And I wonder what it would have been like if I'd done it when I was younger. I think I might have taken a lot more risks, you know, if I was doing it when I was in my early 20s or whatever. But started in my mid-30s, and at that point, I don't remember there ever really being another woman on the lineup.
To look up to.
Yeah,
go-
well,
not to
I
look
did
up
look
to,
up.
but to
Yeah,
go,
but of course I knew about people like Nuala and Olivia. You
Yeah.
know, I know Olivia's not a stand-up, but she's somebody that, like, I do know her, and she's just cracks me up. Always has.
She's
Olivia
some
Nash.
woman.
You may know her.
I've encountered her once or
You've
twice.
encountered
That's my ma you're talking about. You be careful.
It's my wife you're talking about.
But yeah, I didn't really think about it too much about being like, oh
Yeah.
gosh, I'm the only woman. I think it's only now when I'm starting to realise and looking around a wee bit more and going, there should be more by now.
Yeah,
There
by
really
now
should be
there
more.
should be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
There's Jasmine Sierra. There's a few. It's hard that I can't think of a dozen off the top of my head.
There are some. There are definitely more trying.
Donna
it.
Doherty, of course.
Of
yeah,
course.
sorry, Donna. But yeah.
Hey,
Can we start this one again?
We'll go for a wee sleep.
all this
Go for a wee
female
sleep.
stuff.
We'll talk.
But so you're still doing gigs and you're the only woman on the bill still?
Not well, yeah. Actually, that would be quite. I'm sure Diona finds that as well.
Yeah.
It's more the norm if you're. Yeah, that you would be the only one, and when you see that there's another one, it is quite a nice like, oh,
Yeah.
lovely. But I don't really know what the answer to any of that is. You know, people will be quick to say, oh, you should be booking more women on your lineup, and people are trying to run a show, or you know, they'll say, well, there's not enough around to sort of make up a line. I don't know. I do think maybe it's more about asking. I think women are less likely to ask for things, to put themselves out and go, put me on.
Yeah, well, the days of women aren't funny has gone. hasn't it?
Well, you would like to think so. You still hear that. You still hear that. And there's an awful lot of people who think they're being nice. And they'll say to you after, they'll come up to me, and I'm sure they've said it to other female comedians as well. They'll be like, I don't usually like female comedians, but I like you. And you're like, what a strange thing to say.
You're a fabulous female.
Yes, I know. But like, I don't normally like women, but
Well done, you.
I know, well done.
you.
You've broken the norm. Yeah. So it is a weird thing. You feel like you're starting from a different place. Like if you walk out on stage, it's not that everybody in the audience is like, oh God, it's a woman. But there is a wee bit of there's a little bit more to climb, I think, because there will be that sort of like, oh God. And it'll be women as well. Oh, I don't like female comedians. You have a wee bit more to kind of overcome and get them.
Yeah.
I think.
But you started off with this comedy character who's half cut. Looking for,
that's right,
looking
a character.
Is there any truth in that it's based on somebody in particular, Teresa?
It's entirely me. No, the character was me during the day at work. Me on stage, that was me. No, I did start out doing it a bit more as, and it was a brilliant but sort of uniform to wear. I would be like, I'd have my hair all back combed, my makeup all down my face. I was basically a woman at the end of her tether, just like I had it. And then I would stumble on stage and sort of, insult people in the front row and then sing a song. And then it was all, it was much more sort of character based, I guess, when I started. And I don't do that as much now, but I'm starting to regret leaving that behind because there's much more.
There's much more
freedom.
There,
Yes, absolutely. The problem was quite early on when I started doing comedy, I started to get booked for the odd corporate, and I was booked to host quite a big awards ceremony up in Derry, and I did it as this character. Now I had maybe done like 2 years of stand up, a wee bit of TV. Nobody knew who I was, and I had it in my head that they'll all recognise this character walking out on stage to host this very prestigious event. So I was wearing like a proper formal dress, but I still did the backcombed hair and the makeup all down my face. And this was in St Colum's Hall in Derry, and somebody got up and was like, "Please welcome your host for this evening, Teresa Livingstone." And I came out on stage staggering with a gin in my hand and was like, "Does anyone know where the toilets are?" And the audience were horrified. They were just sat there going, "Oh my God." And then I went into a song and I don't know if I should curse, but anyway, there were bad words in it.
Work away.
Well, it was all about fanny farts. And I said, "Now, were you uncomfortable before? You are now." So but I sang that song, and as I looked down into the audience, I just saw the mayor of Derry and Strabane with his medals around him, just staring at me like, "Where am I? What is happening?" So it took. Honestly, that was a wee bit of a wake-up call. I was like, Teresa, no one knows who you are. Nobody knows that this is a character. There were people coming to ask me if I was okay when I was waiting to go on stage. Like, are you lost? So, that was a learning curve. But please do hire me for corporates because I'm much better now.
Yes, very, very good.
Yes,
very, very
I've got
good.
one coming up next week. Yeah.
Have you? Oh my!
It was kind of like sort of that Dean Martin thing then, wasn't it? Where he used to always do the routine where he acted drunk.
Oh,
people thought he was drunk.
Thought he was, but he didn't actually drink. It was ginger ale.
Oh, yeah.
But he did the whole routine, so it was kind of a bit like that.
Yes,
they were assuming that you were drunk.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But that's the one thing I definitely never have. Like I do drink, but I've never drank on stage or before I go on stage.
Have you ever had a drink on stage, Tim? Have you ever?
No, surely not.
I think there's a yes.
Yes, I think we had that. We talked about that in one episode with Ali Ford.
I once did it for real in Derry.
Oh God,
for real.
Oh no.
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
Oh, we had Ali Ford going, "I refuse to go on stage with him."
Oh my God.
I'm a professional. I'm not going on stage with that.
Oh dear God.
Anyway, you can pick that up in the Ali Ford episode. That's a long story. Yes, it's a long story.
No, I've never drunk doing comedy, but I used to do it before I did comedy, and while I was teaching I used to play just straight music in bars around Donegal. I'd be like a pub singer.
So you came into music rather than comedy then? Were you
yes,
a big comedy
kind
fan,
of.
But you were musical.
I was music first, yes.
Your auntie
definitely.
was famous.
My granny.
Your granny,
Yes.
granny, of course.
Yeah.
Brady Gallagher.
Yes.
Brady
She was
Gallagher.
famous, very big star in the 50s and 60s.
Wow.
Like I didn't know her then, but I've seen the footage. And
Right.
What sort of stuff did she?
sort of like Irish ballads and
All right.
things like that. So she was like the first pop star to come out of Ireland. She
Right.
was sort of discovered in the 50s. Her first album was produced by George Martin in Abbey Road.
Really?
Right.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And she toured the world. Like she did the States, she did Australia, everything. She was... It would be a different generation.
Yes.
These are too young to know who she is. Probably.
Oh, that's the nicest thing anybody said to us in this podcast.
Don't hear that. Don't hear that very often.
Oh, we're
you're too young to
Did
remember
you hear
that,
that, people? Too young.
But she was really, really glamorous. She did like the Royal Albert Hall. And
Right.
she holds the record in the Royal Albert Hall actually for the biggest crowd ever.
Really?
Yep. they had mounted police outside and everything whenever she was playing there. And the reason she holds the record is they introduced some new fire restrictions the following year, so they had to put seats in and reduce the capacity.
Right.
But up until then, she'd
How many
had
people
like,
did you play? Do you know?
I don't know, loads.
Right.
But I just thought I'd throw that in.
A ween of people.
A ween of people, a whole lot of them.
A queer ween.
Yeah. So
a lock of people.
Yeah, a lot of people.
So music's in the family then.
So she was a big star.
She was a big star,
to
yeah.
her?
Well, she toured for a long, long time. And I guess then, once it got to the 70s and 80s, she was still working right up until she was in her late 70s, I would say. She died now in 2012.
Right.
So, like, I played for her in her last gig up in the Angrinion. Yeah, I was, me and my dad were her backing band.
Wow.
Played for her on stage.
And your dad was her manager or something?
Yes, he took over as her manager, I think, in the 70s. Because as I'm sure you can imagine back in the day, she was very famous, but she didn't have an awful lot of power, I guess.
Right.
And when you're being sort of managed and you know, you've got managers and promoters and things like that, and you didn't have the law background that you might have had if you're reading a contract, I think she got sort of...
So she wasn't loaded?
No.
No, really?
No. And I would say that's probably the case with an awful lot of performers from that, that era.
Yeah.
So, my dad sort of stepped in and was like, I'll do it. He was like 21. And he did. He started to manage her and toured with her. He's a guitarist, so he played in her band. But when I knew her, like obviously I grew up in the 80s and the 90s, she was still performing, but we were like kids. We were just like, whatever.
Yeah.
That's great. And it was only actually towards the end of I think it was like late 90s, early 2000s. They found this footage she found this footage in her attic, and it was all old cine film of her when she toured around the States. It's like colour film of her in Times Square in the 50s with the news going, the ticker tape behind. So anyway, my dad handed it to the BBC, and we're like, do you want to do anything with that? And it got passed around a few people, and I think it was UTV in the end made a documentary about it, and I presented it. Now, this was way before I'd never done anything remotely comedy. I think they were trying to get Brona Gallagher to present it, but she was too expensive. My dad, ever the promoter, just went, who could do it? This wee girl here. There's a young girl here, very talented. So there's me like teaching abroad, and I was like, what now? And so yeah, we made this documentary going around. It was brilliant actually, because it gave me a chance to look at what she'd done with a different lens, because I'd just seen her as like, it's just my granny. But then I was suddenly looking at all this footage and interviewing people who'd seen her. Like we went to New York and we interviewed people who'd gone to see her in the 50s and still had like the wee poster and everything. And it was amazing.
Oh, wow. That's lovely.
Yeah. And they brought
I'm going to look Brady Gallagher up now.
Yeah. I mean, she might not be the style of music he'd be. To be honest with you,
okay, but it's a big star.
But she sang that. The Boys from the County Armagh. That song. That was her song.
Yes, we heard that a bit this year, didn't we? Or last year. Apparently they won something or other.
Did they? I genuinely don't know.
They didn't. They kept it to themselves.
I'm not even in on this joke because I do not know.
Oh, right,
what
sorry.
did they win?
They won the All Ireland.
Oh, very good.
Right.
Armagh.
Yeah.
Oh, way. So you may have heard that song once or twice.
Not once or twice.
Well, that was Brady Gallagher. Oh, that was her song.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So music's in the blood. Your dad played guitar.
Mm-hmm.
You got into music yourself. You taught music.
Yeah.
Where'd the comedy come in?
So I'd been teaching up until I turned 30 and had a wee midlife crisis. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I moved back. I was living abroad and I moved back to Belfast and I was unemployed for a bit. I was just doing a bit of subbing and trying to figure out what I was going to do next. And so I just started taking a night class at the Crescent Arts Centre in comedy improvisation.
All right.
And I had been like a pub singer for years and like really not singing anything.
I could be a pub singer.
No. Think more like
pub singer.
Think more like no, being paid to be there, not just this woman at the bar. Oh, she's off again. No, it would have been think more like a wee keyboard with a bossa nova beat.
Right.
Tie a yellow ribbon round the. Oh my god, being completely ignored by everybody. Right. It wasn't like I'd fans, but I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, yes. So I'd been doing that, and I'd always tried to write my own songs as well, but they were off. Like, they were so trite. They were so kind of like when I was a teenager, I used to write songs all the time about, can we just please save the people in Rwanda? Hold out your hand. And people would just be like, what are you talking about? I wrote a song. I wrote a song for peace in 1993. All of that.
That worked though, because a
It
year
did work.
later the IRA ceasefire.
Tim, you don't know how true that is.
Do you know
It was
what?
on UTV Live on Christmas Eve 1993. I
Was it?
sang that song. Yes. I still have the footage.
Do you?
Yes, and I think all the
Sing
political
a bit
parties
for us
just
now.
went, Christmas lights are on the trees. And then it talks about people dying. So anyway,
All right.
happy Christmas, everyone.
Well, you got us peace.
And I got us peace.
Oh,
thank
thank
you.
you very- that was very
You're
decent.
so welcome. You're so welcome. I thought it was Band-Aid. Like, I really was like, here we go. No, I'm going to speak truth to power here in my Dorothy Perkins crushed velvet hat. But
So you realised you weren't going to make it as a singer.
No.
But
And then I started doing the comedy improv, and I was struggling to get work at the time. I was single, I was 35, and I was just quite angry, actually. I
Right.
was just like, I've been such a good girl. I've done I went to uni, I did I've played by all the rules, and I'm still sitting here. I've moved back in with my parents, and I'm 35. What is going on?
Yeah.
So I just started to write songs about being annoyed about things. And then because I was doing the comedy improv, I did 2 terms of that, and I was just loving like just being in an environment where people were laughing at what you were doing. Loved it. And so yeah, that's why I went and did like an open mic type thing. Just sang I just had written 3 songs, so I just sang the 3 songs. I barely spoke.
Yeah.
And it was a competition that night, and I won it, and I was like, oh, do that again. So that's basically how I got into it.
yeah. Well, I'd seen you a few times in the Empire and various bits and pieces, and then you did a gig with me in Limavady. Remember
Oh, yes.
Limavady?
Yes.
And you absolutely stormed it. I was on the song, and but you did a whole lot of going into the audience. You did audience work. You did the teacher stuff and all of that.
Yeah.
It was brilliant.
Yeah.
It was really-
I don't do as much going into that. You see, this is what I think has happened. When I was in that sort of character and all dressed up, I think I was a lot more
right
in your
Protected?
face. Yeah, you are a wee bit
You're
more protected when if you're in a character, if you're even just makeup wise.
Yeah.
So I think I just might go back to that. I think I'm getting too polite. I think I'm far too polite now. I'll come out on stage and be like, thanks for having me. Whereas that would have never happened 10 years ago.
And when we were doing the comedy improv, is that where Mr. Rob came in?
Yes, it is. Yes. So
wanna talk about-
I met my now husband. See, so the character was kind of like, I'm single and I'm fed up with men, and I'm happy to be single, and whatever. I'm not conforming to what everybody else does.
There's a whole great song about what a night out was.
What a
like,
night
and
out
how you start,
with men in
all
Belfast.
glammed up and stuff, and
That's
you end up
right.
half cut and
And then,
miserable.
unfortunately, I met Fraser, and we fell in love and got married. And I was
sorry.
like, well, this
I'm
act
sorry.
is
Fraser,
done.
Comedy is ruined. Fraser, thanks a lot, Fraser. Really appreciate it,
thanks
Fraser.
a lot. But genuinely, it made it hard. Not made it hard, obviously, but I started to feel less and less authentic in a way, because I was getting on stage and being like, F man, this, that, and the other, and like with my engagement ring dangling off my finger. So
You were secretly happy.
yes, secretly happy. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah, which ruins the act. It does.
It does. Nobody wants to hear material about how great things
Yeah.
are. I mean, a lot of people do that very well, but I don't.
Yeah.
So yes, I met Fraser, and I met him through improv. He was.
Where's he from?
He's from Carrickfergus.
Is he from Carrickfergus?
Yeah.
Why do
Don't
I
hold that
think he's
against him.
American?
Why do you think he's American?
I don't know why I think Fraser Rob is. It's a bit of my brain. Is he not?
No, he's definitely
you
not.
probably know better than
Well, I mean, I'll go and ask. I never asked him. Do you know what? I never
His
actually
secret
asked.
life. Did you not know?
I've never asked that direct question. Are you
Where
American?
did I get that? Anyway.
Well,
don't
he
mind.
was.
Ignore me.
No, it might have been. He did go over to the States.
Yes,
to
you
study
see, he's
improv.
been to the
yes,
States,
He's
that's-
visited. Yes, I am.
Told you, and you're not American.
I'm having a bad day.
You're not. You're grand. Yes, he did. He went and studied improv over in Chicago. That was before I met him.
Right.
And then he came back here and he was teaching it. And that's how I
Yeah.
met him. I took one of his courses. And at the end of the course, I asked him out for a drink and he said no. And I went, and scene. That was not me asking. And then he had a wee think about it and said yes again. So
Right.
yeah, that's how we met.
Right. And he does gigs and stuff. He's still
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
gigs.
he does stand up now as well.
Yeah,
Funnily enough, he wasn't doing stand up when we got together. He had done before. Then I started doing it, and he was like, "I think I might start doing that again."
Right.
You know, just
brilliant.
Competitive then?
I wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
No, not at all. No.
He is very good.
He's excellent,
He is
and he
very
knows
good.
so much more about it than I ever will. He's a real proper comedy fan / nerd. You know, I've always loved comedy and watching stand. I was always somebody who went to the Empire, loved watching it, loved all sorts of comedy. But his encyclopedic knowledge of it is kind of intimidating.
Is he a
He really
comedy
does.
nerd?
Yeah, he is. I think. Yeah. But it means he's very good. He knows what he's doing. Whereas I'm just on stage going, "Duh."
Does he go off and do his own stuff, and then you go off and do your own stuff, or do you mix and match and go? Does this work,
we
Fraser,
do.
or what do you think of this? Or do you
No,
try
we
stuff out?
will. We will sort of. Yeah, we will sort of like. Do you think there's anything in this? But I try to do that less now because I like trying something out that Fraser hasn't. I'd rather try it out in a room rather than because it never works. You see, if you're sitting in a living room going, right, I'm going to try something out. Just listen to this. His deadpan face while I'm saying it. I'm just like losing faith in it as I'm speaking. Just like never mind. And the same vice versa. You know, you don't really. So we do material about the same things because obviously we're both experiencing a lot of the same stuff, but in two very different ways. I think.
Yeah, very good. Can we talk about your brother Peter?
Yes.
The reason I want to talk about your brother Peter, because I've seen Peter on TV more times than I've seen you on TV.
He is a local celebrity.
Peter is a disability activist, among other things.
Yes.
He has learning difficulties.
Yes.
But he's been on TV quite a few times, a really powerful advocate for that stuff.
Yes.
And he's also a massive Give My Headpiece fan, which
He
means
is.
he is a real gentleman and a man that everybody should follow.
He loves Give My Headpiece. And when I say, like, he has an iPad or a Kindle that he takes everywhere with him because normally we're boring. You know, if he's out for dinner, we'll all be talking and Peter will be sitting there on his iPad like, whatever. And it's always Give My Headpiece. It's either Give My Headpiece or The Simpsons. Those are his two
Well, that's
massive. So that's who you're
not
up
a bad
with.
place to be
That's
with,
where
is
you
it?
are.
No, that's
Okay,
funny
we're
because
over.
we've always had a rule on Give My Headpiece. It's called the Simpsons rule. So when I come up with a really daft idea, like, they say, well, look, that's really stupid. I always say, would the Simpsons do it?
Yes.
And
yes.
if the Simpsons would do it, then we'll do it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of
Yeah.
and it's always worked
Yeah,
very well.
no, that's absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, he does. He does. He's a massive
He's
fan.
clearly a
and
man of taste.
He's a man of taste.
No, he comes to
yes.
all the gigs and we've seen
Comes
him
to all of your
yeah.
gigs. He's he's very funny. Peter's very he's very good at speaking and advocating for people, but he'll also be quite direct. And
Yes,
so
you find that sometimes with people learning difficulty that they're not afraid to tell you the truth.
yeah, which is why they're so
The
brilliant.
filters are not
Yeah.
necessarily all on.
Yes, yeah,
You were
exactly.
all right. No, you were shite.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So even if I've been performing, I'll be like, would you think that was funny, Peter? And he'll be like, yeah, it's fine. Yep. It's no Tim McGarry. But of course my favourites are, and then he'll tell you all your favourites. But no, he was beside himself when I said I was doing this. He was like, oh my God, you've made it. This is it. This is it. It doesn't get any better than this. This is like, for Peter, this is me going on like Graham
So
Norton.
when you're in the Mandela Hall on the 29th of March, he'd probably be in the Grand Opera House then.
Do you know what? That is quite possible.
Your own brother.
He's definitely going. In fact, I think, he's going to that. I think he was trying to get tickets to go to the TV taping as well.
Oh, right, yeah. Right.
Or that might have been before Christmas.
We might have a word about that.
Go back in time and figure that out.
We might have a word.
And,
They sort that out.
We might have a word about that.
but he's great, and he sits on the all-party learning disability political group at Stormont. So quite often he will be up there giving a speech to the health minister about how people with learning disabilities are treated. Like he was in, God love him, he was in hospital quite a lot over the last couple of years having various surgeries, and there'd be times whenever he'd say to he'd be speaking to like a nurse and saying, for my surgery today, can my dad come in with me? And they'd go, because of COVID, those restrictions. He's like, that's okay, I'll speak with the anaesthesiologist. Could you get him in here, please? Right? So then they're bringing in the surgeons and all. And if they're saying, no, Peter, that's not possible, he's like, that's okay, I'll talk to the health minister later. Thank you. And they were all like, who is this? And then right enough, a few months later, he's there giving a speech going, I asked for my father to accompany me, So he is great. He is great.
He's a brilliant lad, yeah. And I like your dad as well. I like your mum too, but your dad's
It's getting weird now.
It is getting weird.
Do you want to like be part of the family or something?
Well,
What's wrong
you
with
know
my
what?
sisters, huh?
No. I don't do your sisters as well, but Jim,
No,
like you meet in the street, and he's a larger than life character. But
He
like,
certainly is.
he's the link then between Brady Gallagher and Teresa Livingstone, isn't he? I mean,
Well,
he's the man.
in many ways,
many ways.
Biologically, and
But in terms of career and stuff like that, and
yeah, he is.
He's
a big advocate
very
for
encouraging.
get up there.
get
Yeah,
up
like
and
my
do.
whole life, if we've been sitting anywhere and there's been somebody performing in a corner of a pub or restaurant, whatever, no matter what, he'll be like, I'm just away to the loo. And then you'll be looking for him and he'll be over there going, there's a young girl here. She's done her grade 8 piano. Move over and give her a wee shot, right? And he's been like that his whole life, just constantly like, go on, get up, go on, go.
Well, that's good.
So, yeah, no, it is good. But I mean, I got my 18th birthday, him and my mum got me my first little keyboard, like electric keyboard, and that's why I went off and did pub singing and stuff like that. So, he can be seen at my gigs or at any other gigs heckling. He doesn't understand that heckling isn't just people shouting, boo, but people who are joining in.
Yeah.
He is. That's
Well, if
still
they're joining in the singing, that's all right. If they're joining,
well, not even. Like, even I get really... See, whenever I'm playing a song and people start clapping, I'm like, what are you doing? Shut up and listen, right? And he's the sort
That's the teacher in you.
Oh, it is. I've never let that go.
quiet
Never.
now. Teacher's singing.
I do get
You
like
are.
that.
You
I
see,
have to...
teachers, I'm not, well...
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. I
do
know.
stuff about
I've been
teachers
told I
and-
have a teacher voice. Like, just drop it, Teresa. Like, but I lost it one night in the Empire. Actually, I think it was around Christmas. So it was one of those nights where there's loads of Christmas nights out. You know, people in groups of 50 or whatever, and the whole balcony of the Empire was talking. And I was like, so I was trying to do my act, and all you could hear was this, boo, 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 and it just started to get louder and louder, and I just lost it and screamed, like went full on, like, shut that up, right? And it just went completely silent, and I was like, anyway, and I got back, and there was not a peep out of them afterwards, and I was like, oh my God, nobody
still
messes with me.
You still
And
have it.
Yeah.
The authority in the voice.
Oh yeah, and then the bar manager afterwards said, no, we threw them out after that, so there was nobody in the balcony. I was like, I've still got it. I have nothing. No.
Did you need those skills in West Belfast then? Did you hone
What
those
do you think?
skills?
Yes, I did.
Are you allowed to say what school you were in? You did say what school?
Yeah, Corpus Christi.
Corpus
It's
Christi.
unfortunately it's closed
It's no
now.
longer there anymore. so
No, it's amalgamated into.
That's a set for TV shows now, isn't it?
Do you know what? Not only is it the set for. So yes, they use the old school for what do you call it?
Dairy cars, I think.
No. What do you call the police one?
Not Blue Lights.
not Blue
the
Lights,
other
the
one.
one
The other
before
one.
that.
Adrian Dunbar.
No, not Hope Street.
You see, there's so many of them.
Adrian, Line of Duty. Thank
Line
you.
of Duty.
We got
I love
that
how
actually.
when you think
there's
of
so
it-
many cop shows in Belfast
I
now.
know.
You never see a cop. You know, every
So that
9
would-
times out of 10 they're booking actors.
Yeah, they used the school as the police station, the
Yeah.
outside of the police station. But you know what I saw it in more recently? I went to see the film Kneecap,
Yes.
and I was sitting there, and if you've have you seen it?
Yes, I've
right.
seen
So you know the
Kneecap.
way there's the story is it's their teacher that sort of gets into helping them.
Yeah.
And I have a terrible habit of putting myself into everything I'm watching. So I was like, this is just like me, you know. I help the boys, you know. I was helping them follow their dreams, and you know. And I was watching it, and I was thinking to myself, you know, I'm going to tell Fraser this, and he's going to say it's not all about you. And then I realised there was a scene where the teacher is walking outside to go and be picked up by his partner, and it was the school. It was Corpus Christi. The scenes were being filmed in the classrooms I taught in. I was like, this is my story. It is all about me. So yeah, it's really funny to see it on.
Yeah.
It's used a lot.
Yeah.
But yes, I did need skills in
What age were you teaching? So
secondary. So like
So
they were 11 to 16.
right.
I mean, they were.
Any
It was my
music-
first year out of. I was 22 when I think about it now. I was 22. Some of them were just a couple of years younger than me, and I was like, sit down. It was challenging, you know, and you're dealing with an awful lot of.
One of my old teachers told me that he decided to retire when the kids started coming in with hangovers. that's what he said. Right, I'm getting out of this. This isn't for me anymore. You know.
No, we were. It was like 2002 when I was teaching there, and I have some amazing memories of teaching there. There was so much about it I really did love. There was a lot about it that was so hard. I don't think anything I've ever done after has been as challenging, because you're dealing with there's a lot of issues underlying bad behaviour, but I do regret not writing down some of the things the kids used to say, because they were the funniest kids.
Yeah,
like in terms of banter and back and speaking back to you. The amount of times I'd be like, "That's actually really good," but I'd be like, "How dare you?" And then but trying to write it down. But they used to come out with all these really funny things, and like I had a tutor group for a while, and they were quite a wee small group. They were like 12 to 13 years old, and none of them were maybe higher than this table. Like they were all wee tiny tots, right? But lethal. Do you know what I mean? Like the smaller the teenager, the more dangerous, I think. So anyway, the school ran a health fair that year, and they invited in all these different stakeholders and things to come in and give presentations and speak to the boys. And they brought the fire brigade in for some reason, and it was just, the whole thing was hilarious. They brought the fire brigade in, they brought all the boys outside, and the fireman just came out, set fire to a bin and then put it out, and we were all like, right, what have we learned here? And then they turned around and were like, don't set fire to the bin. And I was like, right, boys, inside. So that was the fire brigade's presentation. Then we had a nurse who came and spoke to them. And there was like about 15 of these little boys, right? But they were really funny. And she was going, I'm here today to talk about fetal alcohol syndrome. And I was like, oh God, why? Where did you think you were going? So anyway, she started going, mothers, this was a boys' school.
Right.
If you drink when you're pregnant, that could have an effect on the child. It could stunt their growth. It could, affect their ability to learn. And like one of the wee boys in the class was just like, fuck, my mum must have been blocked the whole time she was having me. So they were so funny. And like, do you know what I mean? And stuff like that. And so the nurse was really like, excuse me. And I was like, trying not to laugh. I was like, that is very inappropriate, but very funny.
That is very funny.
So
you see, there's no coming back from stuff like that.
No.
David O'Doherty tells a great story about reading kids a story that he'd written, and he said the best heckle he's ever had is from a child. He said you couldn't come back from it. You couldn't. He said he was reading the story. He said, I knew it wasn't great because they started to fidget. And then this kid stuck up his hand, and David stopped and said, yeah, what is it? And this kid said, does this get good soon? I said, where do you go? Where do you go? Where do you go?
I know. Oh my
Fuck you.
God. Oh, I know. That is just sort of like heartbreaking. Yeah, no coming back from that. I'd feel like that if someone said it to me now on stage. Does this get good soon? I'm like, oh.
When I did a history show, Tim McGarry's Irish History Lesson, and Twitter was in its early stages, I got the best compliment ever, which was watching Tim McGarry's Irish History show. Not as shite as I thought it would be. Which is kind of a backhanded northern.
That's almost like, I don't like female comedians normally, but I like you.
Yeah, all right. Well done,
you.
you.
I think. Yeah.
No, kids are very honest, like, because I mean, my son was coming 26, but when he was about 6, I made him his dinner once. I said, did you like your dinner? And he said, yeah, but it was a bit rotten.
I liked the bit when I wasn't eating it. Yeah. So kind, yes.
But we don't appreciate teachers. I mean, I do slag them off, but during COVID, everybody suddenly went, oh, hang on a minute, I do see what they do now.
You do a bit of remote learning at home. You're like, pay them £1 million a year.
But you wouldn't go back to it?
I don't think I would. It is really hard. It is hard. It is a hard job. I loved the performing aspect. I just loved getting kids together and playing music with them. Yeah. I wasn't so good at the rest of it. But
do you still get a lot of time off though, teaching, or is that a myth?
It is a wee bit. Well, when you say time off, yes, on paper, you've got more holidays than anybody else. But half of that, you're in recovery. You're lying in a darkened room with PTSD for the first 4 to 5 weeks, and then you go to France.
Aye. And then you get a bucket present at the end of term. No, I'm not going to go there. No. 8 weeks off in the summer, 2 weeks off.
Do you know, it used to be 8 weeks off. It's probably more like 5 hours. It's only 5 or 6 now, Tim.
Oh.
What's your routine? Any teachers in the night?
Any other part-time workers?
I swear to God.
I do have a go.
I have a go at them as well, but more for just being functioning alcoholics, because that's how I got through it. That's how everybody I taught with did. But No, it is hard.
So what's the ambition then now? Would you ideally like to do the comedy full time? You've got a full time job in education
That's why
at the minute, but you would like to go full time.
That's what Edinburgh sort of highlighted to me. It was because I've always liked being able to kind of dip in and out of it a wee bit. I have my full time job and then I perform kind of on the side. But just being able to be totally immersed in it for a couple of weeks, I've never really had that experience.
And also an audience that don't know you.
And
You've never heard of you, just going, what is this?
Yeah. And that was a nice, dip my toe into, these people have no concept of who I am. And it was really well received. I was like, God, so that's why I've come here for advice today. How did you do that? But the career break's a very good idea.
The career break, yeah, no, seriously. It worked for us. We were able to take 2 years initially and then
it's just having the
security blanket.
It's a security blanket, and it is a risk, but I think you need to take.
But the scene now. There's so many gigs now. Your trouble with you is you have to lumber around that fucking piano.
That is a nightmare.
The great thing.
No, it genuinely is.
I did a wee tour recently, and you turn up in your car, you go a sound check, 1 2 1 2. You stand at a microphone for an hour, and then no equipment, no nothing, no costume changes.
Because for my
so you have to lug the piano.
Yeah.
I have a piano. See, for my Edinburgh show, I had a piano, a stand, I had a projector screen, a projector. I had my high heels because I couldn't walk around in them, and I had 10 minutes to set up every day. To run in, set it up. But it's like for every gig, there's if the show starts, doors are at 8, show starts at 9. Most of those comedians will come in about 9:15. I've been there since 7, setting it up, doing a sound check, and then just sitting in a dressing room, freezing. Just waiting for everybody else to get there. So it's a long, long night by the time you're actually done.
And in Edinburgh, your hours, and
that's it. Get out. You have 10 minutes to set up, 10 minutes to take it down, and the act after me was a play. There was these 2 girls doing a play, and they had a whole set of pink furry carpet and wall, and they'd be drilling and setting that up every single day as I was folding my piano down. It was nuts, but yeah, it's a skill I have now. I can get in and get out in 10 minutes.
Yeah, the baby reindeer thing is actually quite accurate. The baby reindeer portrayal of Edinburgh.
Of Edinburgh.
Yeah, it's not far. Because where were the Mandela Theatre? We changed in a toilet, didn't we? The entrance was from the back of in a toilet. You changed there. There were about 6 of us.
I was changing.
And you got your hour right back off.
Yeah. I've changed in toilets many times and practically put my foot in a toilet trying to get an outfit on me. It's really glamorous. Yeah. But maybe I should ditch the piano and just
you see that's
in.
Yeah, that's a thing.
I don't think so.
You need it. The songs are good. The songs
are good. So I'm keeping it.
And do you keep writing new songs all the time then?
I should be doing it more. I should be doing it more.
Get an album out.
I know that would be a good one actually. Great ideas, Tim. So I'm quitting my job.
Quit your job. Get rid of the piano. Write some more songs.
Yeah.
I'm really trying to help you here. Get a podcast. Everybody's doing it.
Oh, I know.
Oh, everybody. Why do you not have a podcast?
I know. I am the last person alive who doesn't have one.
No,
you're not. No. I've thought about it actually. I've thought about it more recently, but I don't know why I haven't. Yeah. I've had a real mental block about doing one because I had an idea for one and then somebody else did one sort of similar and I was like, oh, never mind. So I need to, Fraser is very, very adamant that that's something I should be doing. And the more I'm told I should do something, the less likely I am to do it. So, but watch this space.
Well, watch this space indeed.
I've got a good name for it. Middle class woman of a certain age.
All right.
To be confirmed.
That's the end of this podcast.
God knows where we are with that now. I don't know. Do you remember that happened 5 weeks ago?
Yeah, shut up.
There goes the New Year show.
Teresa, I can't believe what did we do? Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
We would like to encourage people to go and see Delighted and the Mandela. Are you doing any other gigs before that? You'll be out and about?
I'm sure I will. I can't think off the top of my head right now. Mandela, no, that's in the past. No, I'm doing it. I'm actually doing it in Leicester at the Leicester Comedy Festival in February and the Glasgow Comedy Festival earlier in March as well. So yeah,
brilliant. And it's Delighted in Mandela Hall, 29th of March. Give Me Headpieces on tour then as well. But if you couldn't get a ticket for Give Me Headpieces, go to the Mandela Hall. I thoroughly recommend Teresa. Teresa, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Did you enjoy yourself?
I loved it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Good.
You'll come back?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yes, we'll definitely have you back. Thanks again to our wonderful sponsors, Drip Cafe on the Omar Road. Go and see them. And of course, PhoenixEnergyNI.com. Go to PhoenixEnergyNI.com for all your energy needs. They'll help you transfer and all of that. Gas is the way forward. I'm going to get gas.
Biomethane is the way forward.
Biomethane. Dog farting, cow farting is going to save the world. That's the lesson of this podcast. Thanks. See you soon.